What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to basically tell you how I was able to add all this, which is basically over $5,500 in inventory, and I didn't have to spend a penny. And I'm going to teach you consignment, how you do that with friends, family, neighbors. Spread the word. Don't be embarrassed of what you do. Be the expert. Be the person in the neighborhood. Tell everyone what you do. And guess what? They all have stuff in their house. And if you do a really good job for one of the neighbors, they will tell their friends or their coworkers about you as well, and then they'll bring you stuff. So what I found in this, doing this, and I'm going to show you photos of consignment items that I have listed in my eBay store. Proof is in the pudding. I'm not going to show you sales because anyone could do that, but I already did close to, I've given my neighbor $1,400 in cash after the item's been listed. And I think for him, I think I still have another, I don't know, $6,000 worth of stuff listed. So here's the cool thing about consignment. A lot of people won't tell you, especially on YouTube. You have to build trust, right? And you have to be an expert. So it does help with me that I am an everything seller. And what I enjoy about consignment is, A, I don't have to spend any money, which is nice. B, I don't have to spend time sourcing items. Now I get it. A lot of people out there enjoy sourcing. They enjoy the thrill of the hunt. Um, but let's face it, a lot of times you blow your load and you get all excited and the thrill of the hunt. You spend all day. You got crappy weather, and your adrenaline's pumping. You got a bunch of stuff. You're all excited, and you decided, and you spent money or whatever, and you literally are spent by the time you get home. So, and I and I think this is more for people that get older. So I'm like 49. So I go out there, I can still find something I'll list it that day, but I've started to notice that because I know so many different things and what things are worth, I find myself wasting time because I want to make sure I don't like pass up on a good opportunity. And I'm better myself, sourcing garage sales and estate sales because it's like a one thing. Whereas a flea market, that would be horrible for me. It would be too much work. And again, some people enjoy that. So why do all that? Why go to Goodwill? Why go to all these stupid stores? Why do retail arbitrage? Unless you're like literally shopping there for your personal items and you just happen to run across something that's different. But to actually make like dedicated trips to do that, guys, you're wasting all this time. Just tell people what you do, they'll bring you the stuff. So these iPods, for example, or this iPhone, this Berlini pencil sketch, all these things from here on out that I'm going to show you in this video, and I'll stop on a few and tell you some of the things that I found, are basically brought to my driveway, in my garage, have a discussion. I find out from that person what their goal is. And a lot of times they just want to know what their stuff's worth, or in this case, um, this this neighbor who's not my friend, but he's friends with my neighbor, has all this stuff. And like a lot of us, as we get older, or maybe you don't get older, but someone passes away in your family, and they leave you with their stuff. And what do you do with it? Well, if it doesn't have any sentimental value to you, and it did to that person that passed, well, now they've left that person with a burden. It's a emotional burden on that person because having to dig out someone's stuff from someone deceased, it sucks. It then reminds you that person's no longer there. That person's no longer there to tell you about it. And what do? Well, then we keep it, we set it aside. All of a sudden, all this stuff has sentimental value, and it gets pretty out of control. And some people never let their stuff go because it was grandma's or it was their mom's. You keep it all, and then what do you end up doing? You end up renting storage. You end up getting sick. You can't afford the storage. It's like an endless cycle, and you end up never getting rid of it. or you get sick, you can't deal with it, or you're sick, your mind is going, you're getting older, and you leave it up to your kids, and then the kids are like, well, screw it, let's just put it all on a garage sale for $1, which is a shame. So the way I present consignment with people that are interested in doing it is like, listen, I'm going to go through all the things that you bring with me right now. I'm going to tell you what I think it's worth. I obviously still have to do further research, and there's going to be things that you have or are going to show me that I'm not familiar with. I mean, I saw a lot of stuff, but I guess I'll tell you this. I will take the best photos, the best description. I'll do the most research. I'll go to different websites. I'll do all the legwork. Just bring me the items. And I don't care if it's $850, like in this case, this Elgin watch, or if it's $20, this McGregor Hunt Club watch that I cleaned it and I decided to put a battery in it because it would be a shame if that ended up in the landfill or just thrown in the garbage. It's still a usable item. So, anyways, so this guy was already aboard. He brought me $5,500 worth of stuff. I think I have maybe another $50 or so to list worth of stuff. But all these items that you're seeing me scroll through are things that were presented to me and brought to me to my house in my garage literally 2 days ago. And I got them all listed. And I tried to show them on eBay, this is how you can follow me. You can watch the items that I list. But since you're new, I literally sent him a link to every single item that I listed. I blew up his phone because he's married and his wife, he wants them. His wife doesn't know me, so we want to make sure everything is on the up and up. This is what you gave me. This is what I'm going to try and get for these items. When they sell, we pay eBay a fee. I'm the one packaging it, bring it to the post office. I'm the one doing the research. If the item needs a battery, if the item needs to be cleaned, I'm presenting the best way possible of your family's inherited stuff to get the maximum dollar out of it. And if it's junk, it's junk. If it's junk, I'll spot the junk right then and there, and I'll tell them I just don't want it. Take this, don't, give it to your kids, this and that. And this guy did bring me a very, very large coin collection as well. Nothing crazy, just your usual stuff. A lot of junk silver, a lot of 1921 Morgans. Those guys that follow me for the coins. And I told him, I can take this right now. Next time I visit the coin shop, I'll put your pile and my pile. I'll make sure it's a very detailed receipt of everything I sold for you on your behalf, and I'll hand you some cash. And while I was meeting with him, I'm like, this is what this stuff's worth. He's like, well, how do you know? It's like, because I go to the coin shop all the time. I follow silver. I follow gold. I know what they're going to give me. I'm not guessing, right? And then there's, sometimes there's like a questionable item where it's like, this might have numismatic value, collectible value. Most likely, though, just sell it for the metal content. I'm dealing with iPhones and iPods. iPhones are not easy. What I really liked about this guy's iPhones is he immediately, the day that he bought them, and some of these are over 10 years, 12 years, 15 years old, he put them in an OtterBox case. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, from day one. So when you bust the phone out of the OtterBox case, it's like it just came out of the box, but it's like 10, 12 years old. It's insane. So I've never seen phones so nice. And I told him, I said, after I listed everything, I said, hey, just so you know, your stuff is clean. Like whatever safe you keep it in, however you keep your stuff, I can tell you don't just throw it in a basement or in a storage shed or keep it outdoors. Like his stuff was nice. Very, very little, if any, cleaning. Obviously, I would polish, some jewelry and stuff to make it look nicer. But here's this Elgin watch. Okay, when I met with him, I said, this looks nice. It's an Elgin watch. They're here in Elgin, Illinois. That's where they were made. We're in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, so it's literally like a town that's about 15 minutes from my house. They made all these watches back in the day. I know watches, but I'm not an expert. I just started selling watches about a year ago, and I've sold well over $10,000 worth of watches on eBay, and I'm learning every day. So I told him, I said, I think this thing might be worth $25. It's not real gold, and most of these pocket watches nobody wants. Well, I was wrong. So check this bad boy out. And I told him about this too. I sent him the listing. So you there is a website you can go to. I think it's like Elgin Watch or something, and you just put in the serial number, and it'll tell you absolutely everything about the watch. So I asked them, as he's giving me these items too, I'm asking him, what is the provenance? Like, what is the background on this? Like, who collected these watches? He's like, it wasn't even someone in my family. He's like, it was my mom's, um, or his aunt's roommate, who was a guy, and he was like a watch repairer, a watch collector. They both passed, and he was left going to these homes and clearing them out. So the good news is this guy knew how to spot what something was worth, and he's like, I just grabbed all the pocket watches that actually worked. You know, he knew how to wind them and made sure they worked. But other than that, it was just there was a ton of parts, and I don't know if he has the parts or maybe they threw them out, which is a shame because some of those dials or mechanical parts of the watch can be worth money. But they're an absolute nightmare to list on eBay. But anyways, long story short, I thought this was worth 25 bucks. It felt very modern because of the condition. It felt like a brand new, like a newer watch, like, you know, those reproductions. Boy, was I wrong. Look at the inside of this thing. So, this watch was made in 1910. GM Wheeler, they only made 1,000 of these in 1910. They made them from, this production type of watch. They only made 10,000 total of them. But it's all handcrafted, hand put together here in the United States of America, 20 minutes away. 1910, I mean, geez, what did it look like around here in 1910? It's an amazing piece of history. The dial is clean. My picture here is a little blurry, but the money's not really in the dial. It's literally in the mechanics. It's like all these jewels. There's 17 actual real life jewels inside that make this watch work. And it works. You wind it, it works perfectly. There's no issues whatsoever. It's a Hunter. I didn't even know what a Hunter meant. I had to look it up. Like, what is a Hunter watch? Well, Hunter, two-sided Hunter just means both sides flip down, and you could put it down and look at your watch while you're lighting your cigar or loading your gun. I guess, I don't know. It's back in 1910. But this thing is absolutely beautiful, amazing condition. The cases are gold filled. Some of these are made out of 14 karat, but I notice when it's this nice a quality, the fact that this isn't 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold, I mean, it matters, but it really doesn't matter. It's condition and rarity. So I'm asking 850 bucks for this watch. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks like it just came out from the factory. It's insane. You measure it. You do all this stuff. I show more pictures of the inside. Look at how reflective that is. It's just a beautiful piece of United States watchmaking history. And someone's going to pay big money for this because of the condition and the fact that it's also rare. So just like coins, you have a lot of certain dates, but the nicer they are worth more. But if they're kind of worn or beat up, it's worth the price of silver. Well, in the case of watches, yeah, if it was made out of gold and was beat the heck, I would just cash it in for gold at my coin shop. But this belongs in a museum. This piece belongs in someone's watch collection. Even someone that has modern watches, Rolexes and stuff, they would appreciate something this nice. And it's only 850 bucks, right? Fantastic. Then you have a $25 watch, pocket watch. This is a Westclock Scotty pocket watch. Still made in the United States. It works, which is fantastic. It's shock resistant, and they made a lot of these. There's no precious metals, and this is a $25 watch. Now that I've listed this, taken photos, and done research, if I'm out at an estate sale or a garage sale, I'm now way more dangerous, meaning I can spot the $850 watch, and I can spot now the $25 watch. Chances are they're all in the same bin, and they're probably going to sell them for $2 to $5 per watch because the person selling that is a kid. When I say kid, like younger person that inherited this, they have no clue. They just want to get rid of it, and they put it out at a garage sale. Even the estate sale people, they don't know unless they see my listing. A lot of times, estate sale people are under a time crunch. They only have 2, maybe 3 days to sell everything in the house, and it's based on their knowledge. They don't have someone there sitting all night taking photos of everything. they make mistakes as well. So you can definitely catch people slipping. But this is awesome. I would have never known, A, this is worth 850 bucks. And again, that's what I'm asking. I'll do a follow-up video what this ends up selling for. But I would have never known that. I don't deal with a lot of pocket watches. The only pocket watches I've sold are like, more modern stuff, or like a Mickey Mouse pocket watch that was brand new. I sold that for a lot of money because someone paid a lot of money for that at one of the parks. I don't know if it was one in Florida or California. But anyways, it's so cool. Like, I got to learn. It's now in my brain. So now when I see something like this, I will know if it's worth money or not. The problem is though, like, you do need a watch tool to open up the case, and I'm not rolling around with this one of these in my pocket. That would be weird. But maybe I would. If I was going to a estate sale, I probably would bring a loop. Not this big one, but this is a loop. I wouldn't bring this though to estate sale. You look like, Inspector Gadget or Detective Clouseau. Um, I might bring this though to snap a back off on a watch, because if a watch is expensive, but if the inside's corroded, it's worth parts. But if it's an expensive watch and you pop the back off and the inside's not corroded, I got all kinds of batteries. All right, take this for example. This is not a very rare watch, although it was very expensive. This is from 2009. It's a modern watch. It's a Seiko Katura two-tone stainless steel black dial, sapphire glass, brand new, never worn. So I asked the guy who gave me this stuff for consignment, I said, was this your father's? He's like, yes. I said, your dad never wore this, so someone must have given this to him as a gift. He goes, yeah, that's probably what happened. He goes, my dad never wore watches. He worked on elevators, and he would wear the cheap watch with like a flexible strap on it, because you just don't wear nice stuff at work, especially when you're working on elevators, because you're just going to damage it. But he wasn't a jewelry wearing type of guy. Anyways, I said, well, this watch, pre-owned, used, the recent sales are like 170 bucks, but nobody in the entire United States, maybe in Japan, because that's where these are from, has a brand new one with the card, with the actual bracelets. This thing was so nice, guys. I didn't even want to try and attempt to remove the back to change the battery. Just leave it in there, because the back's never been touched. This is a true, brand new virgin watch. Has never been on anybody's wrist. Not even on mine, because sometimes I'll take pictures of the watch on my wrist. I wasn't about to do that with this one. So I'm asking $450. I might get that from someone here in the United States, because that's what a Seiko Katura now sells for at Macy's. The new modern ones that have a lot more fancy stuff to it. But I bet you I'll sell this to someone in Japan, because that person in Japan, they love this watch. They probably just broke theirs. Japanese collectors, they hang on to their stuff forever. Or they just collect watches and they want this brand new one. So I'm okay listing this for $450. We'll see how it goes. And again, I'll do a follow-up on it. Okay. Now, here is an example, same thing from the consignment. This is a $20 watch. Looks more expensive than the $450 Seiko watch, but you got to know your stuff. I never heard of McGregor. I never heard of Hunt Club. All I know is it says quartz, and it says Japan movement. Usually that means expensive, but the quartz movement came out in 1969. It basically killed the watch market. It made watches way more affordable, and it killed the watch market, because now they could create more accurate timing with a simple quartz movement. Anyways, this is a junky watch, but it looks luxurious, and it can fit up to an 8-inch wrist. It is technically a men's watch, but a woman could wear this as well. And it wasn't in the greatest condition. Whoever owned this definitely wore it a lot, and I know it wasn't his father. And maybe they found this at a estate sale garage sale. The guy didn't know what the story was on this one. But I thought it was cool enough to spend some time, change a battery, and I knew it was worth maybe $15 when I looked at it and I Google lensed it. But I opened up the back. Yeah, the casing's a little corroded, but you know what? This thing is from the 70s. I put a battery in it, and it works. That's freaking awesome. And why should this end up in a pile of garbage. It's a working quartz movement. Yes, it's worn, but I'm thinking to myself, well, who's going to be the buyer for this? Well, the buyer for this is someone that wants to wear a nice looking watch while they're going out to eat, but they're worried about wearing their really expensive gold watch, the real one, in case they're going through certain areas of town. You know, sometimes you got to go through not so nice parts of town, or meet not so nice people when you're going out to a fancy dinner and whatever. So I figured, you know what, for 20 bucks, someone will probably buy this. And I'm the only one that has a working one on eBay. Okay, here are the surprises. If you stuck around this long, this stuff, I thought these were absolute junk. These are, and I thought they were like, something they bought as a reproduction. Okay, like something someone would have bought like in the 90s to like costume jewelry, fashion jewelry. Man, was I wrong. These are actually hand-carved red coral cameo earrings. They're very rare because red coral is not a nice stone to hand carve. That's why these don't look the same. Now, if these both look the same, that's like a stamped mold, piece of plastic or some sort of plastic. No, these are actually hand-carved cameo red coral earrings. I thought this gold on here was brass. That's not true. It's solid 14 karat gold. And the reason I thought that, so I put a price on it because I was pricing everything out in front of them. I was going pretty quick too. I think I put like, maybe we can get 15 bucks for these. Okay, you look at the back. Look, there's no markings. Recent markings, none. Here's the marking. It's on the actual French loop. What does that say? 14 karat. So these are actually 14 karat Victorian era cameo earrings. Amazing stuff. And I'm asking 1,000. Well, why am I asking 1,000? Someone sold a very similar pair, a little bit of different design, on auction for $860 in the last 90 days on eBay. So I'm like, well, no one has a pair of these. I'll list these for 1,000. Maybe the person that didn't win the auction for $860 is looking for these because they're mad because the other person outbid them. Maybe they'll give me an offer at $850, and guess what? I'll accept it. And then after fees, I can hand this guy 400 bucks and keep 400 bucks for myself. And all it costed me was my time and my knowledge. Pretty cool stuff. Well, this was another thing. I looked at this, I'm like, this looks awesome. This does not look like cheap junk because I looked at it under the loop. I'm like, someone hand carved this. So cameos are usually carved out of some sort of coral. And I don't know if they bleach this white or however they do it. I have no idea. But I'm like, this is a very interesting piece because it's technically a brooch. You can wear it as a pin brooch, or it has a loop on it. You can wear it as a pendant. And I'm like, wow, you're wearing a pendant of a lady who's also wearing a pendant. So if this is a real one, chances are, and a real nice one, chances are this diamond is real. Well, guess what? I put my diamond tester on it. Beep, beep, beep. It was absolutely 100% genuine, and it looked like it too under the loop. It did not look like plastic. It did not look like glass. There was no scratches. I'm like, that's a friggin' diamond. And I'm testing this in front of the actual person, and my neighbor is there too because that's his buddy. And they're talking, and I'm like, guys, look at this. This is actually real. I've never seen a cameo with an actual real diamond on it. So again, I did my research. Something like this recently sold, not as nice as this. There was a comp that's a sold comp for 450, and there was one for 800. Well, I'm like, well, this one's nicer. It's got flowers. It's beautiful. I'm asking 950 bucks for it. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, come on, it's a cameo. I'm like, no, this is like the stuff that people collect. They don't even put this stuff in the antique booth because the antique dealer doesn't even want this in the booth. That's their personal collection. This is something they will look for their entire life to try and find. In the meantime, they put their junk in the antique booth. And there's the marking. So this whole thing is solid 14 karat gold. It weighs 8.2 grams. And it would be a shame if someone found this or inherited this. They don't realize the cameo is real. They don't realize the diamond's real, although diamonds aren't worth much. But they would bring this to a place to get liquidated, and the place should be giving them close to 500 bucks. with the price of gold nowadays. But someone that brought this to a pawn shop, they probably give him $50 and they'd be like, oh, that idiot. And then that pawn shop would sell it. They probably list it on their website. So, and this guy had no clue this was worth this much. I didn't either. I'm like, it's probably worth good money. So I put an $800 tag on it in my brain. Actually, no, on this one I put about a $600 tag, and I'm asking $950. So again, I'll do a follow-up video if any of this stuff sells. And again, I didn't spend any money on it. Whatever it sells for, I split that with the person. And they're trusting me with all the stuff. So that's why it's important when you do a consignment deal with somebody, you share your listings. As soon as something sells, however you get paid on eBay, you need to give that person cash because chances are they have more stuff. And he already knew, like he's like, I found video games, I've got vintage concert shirts, I've got all kinds of jerseys I don't wear anymore. He's like, we got closets and closets packed with stuff and our kids' stuff, our kids' video games. He's like, I've got sealed Pokemon packs. Do those sell? I'm like, yeah, dude, Pokemon's like the hottest thing right now. So that's where it pays to know everything as much as you can. And as you're listing things, you want to learn for it. All right, so this is the one I put an $850 tag on because I've never seen anything so ornate and this beautiful for a Cameo. So the Cameo is nice, although I think the prior Cameo is done a bit nicer, but this is all not 14 karat, guys, 18 karat with blue enamel inlay, very, very fancy. And this can be a brooch or it can be a pendant. And yes, that's not a separate piece. This is all one piece. So it's a Cameo with ribbon accents on the bottom. Absolutely beautiful, sitting on a branch. That is an absolute stunner statement piece. And I noticed the way these little pendant holders are designed. They're designed to basically fold back behind it. So when you put this on as a brooch, this thing won't be sticking out. But check this thing out. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm asking $1,250 for it because that's what it's worth. And someone that collects these Cameos, they're going to be like, wow, that is something that you normally wouldn't even, you probably wouldn't even see this in a museum, unless the museum has a really big budget. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the condition on it, I didn't have to bring out a polishing cloth. That's how this thing arrived. So I asked him, I said, what's the story with all your jewelry, man? Like, it's really well taken care of. Like, I can tell, like, someone cherished this or they put it in a spot in their house that was, just, well taken care of. And they're like, listen, man, I got rich aunts, uncles, parents. They had a lot of money and this is like, maybe their grandma's stuff or something. Who knows? This is very old stuff. But so cool. Appreciate the opportunity just to list that. Okay? But with this cool stuff comes the junk. And when I mean junk, like this is $50 worth of stuff. So this is a Amco 14 karat gold filled. So it's not solid 14 karat. It's filled Cameo jewelry. It's still old. It did come with a chain. The chain is not magnetic. That's the first thing I test too. You had a lot of stuff that looked gold and it was all magnetic. Like, dude, all this stuff's fake. So someone was trying to pretend they had a bunch of gold, and maybe they didn't feel comfortable wearing gold back then. I don't know, but he did have a lot of fake stuff. And obviously you can see the Cameos, they're very crude. Now they are real Cameos, they're carved, but you can tell like this was carved by someone in a factory where it's like, get as many of these out as you can, and it might even be stamped. Maybe not. Yeah, that's probably like a stamp. So this is not even hand carved. This is just like a stamped out Cameo. So they did make a lot of this vintage jewelry that was made to look like it's from the Victorian era, but it's fashion jewelry. But it's still gold filled, okay? So it's not made out of magnetic metals. It's not made out of something that's rust. Again, you could see I didn't have to polish this. It was already in great condition. But this whole set, and those are screwbacks, so that's the older style. And how did I know it was Amco? Well, it's nicely marked. But an unexperienced seller would be like, this is awesome, it's 14 karat gold. No, it's 14 karat, and then it's GO, which is another way of saying it's electroplated. So it's got a layer of 14 karat gold over whatever the base metal is, and the base metal is typically not magnetic. Usually it's like copper or a mixture of nickel. Anyways, but these are all nicely marked. Amco. Here's the earrings. And here's the pendant. And the pendant Amco marking, I forgot where it was. Oh, it was on this part. Yep. And again, you would think it's real 14 karat. No, it's 14 karat GO for electroplated. So with the very expensive high-end stuff, you're going to find a lot of junk. But again, his goal is I don't want it back. He's got 2 boys. My boys aren't going to want this. They're going to throw it in the garbage or not take care of it. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever it's worth, I'll list it. If it's $50, now if it's $5, I'm not going to waste time on it. So, but I did list like a $10 token because coins are easier, that stuff I know. But if it was like a $10 silver coin, I even told him like, dude, it does not make sense for me to spend the time, pay eBay their fee. It's way easier for me to take 90% silver that has no collectability value and just liquidate it. Take to the local coin shop. They'll give me what the silver is worth on it. And then I'm like, I'll just give you the cash, buy me lunch because I like going to the coin shop anyways. So, in summary, I enjoy doing this. I really enjoy learning. The important part is make the connections. Have the people bring the stuff to you. And then you can spend more time listing items. In this case, $5,500 worth of listed value that I didn't even have to leave my own house. It came to me. Now you have to develop the relationship. You do have to prove your concept. It does, you do have to know what you're doing. But I enjoyed it, and the cool factor is I got all this knocked out in 2 days. Yeah, I've spent some time on it. I probably spent a good 5 to 6 hours on it. The most of the time was meeting with them, going over everything. But I think this is great, and I can't wait for him to bring me more stuff, and then I don't have to waste time going out sourcing. So appreciate you guys watching. Stick around this long. Hope you learned something. That's why I do these videos. I appreciate it. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.